Well, hello and welcome to what I think I'm calling Craft and Chat. And I have a niddy noddy and I'm going to take what I spun last night off my wheel, but that's probably not in shot, is it? If you're new here, my name is Becca and I predominantly make content about hand spinning, dyeing, knitting, weaving, and then some other random stuff thrown in sometimes on a Sunday when I do a vlog, which I did think I wasn't going to do this week. However, my appointment cancelled, so I think there might be one. Anyway, I'm going to get on with what I'm doing. Be lovely to know what you're working on, and I know from the comments that people tell me they quite like to craft while I am chatting, so I thought that would be a nice thing to do. So this niddy noddy is a Kromsky niddy noddy. It was bought for me when I first started spinning by a very, very dear friend of mine, college friend, and he kept sheep and I used to help him with his sheep, and I spun some of the wool for him and I knitted a jumper for him, which I don't think he ever wore because it wasn't really his style. He has a very, very strong sense of style, and I think my rustic jumper was not really to his taste, but he appreciated the effort, but I never saw him wear it. And my spinning was not that good in those days. It was a long time ago. What was that? 2000, must have been at least 2007, or maybe it was 2006. I don't know. Anyway, it was a long time ago, and my spinning was a bit uneven, and yeah, the jumper was a bit rustic. I mean, I liked it, but I don't think he did. But he was too polite to say. So he bought me this niddy noddy, and it has chew marks on the end of it because our little dog, Molly, that you will never have met because she had sadly passed away before I started the channel. When she was a puppy, she loved chewing, well, my spinning equipment mainly, and I have chewed bit on the end there. I've got bobbins with the chewed bits on, and the treadle on my dear old spinning wheel has got chewed bits on it. So yeah, and I just kind of, every time I see the little chewed bits, it sort of makes me think of lovely little Molly. And Molly was a Cairn Cross Jack Russell, and she was a sweetheart, and she was very, very different from Millie, who is an absolute firecracker. Molly was very, very kind of subdued and quiet and very independent little dog. Not as kind of, I was going to say needy. That sounds a bit mean to Millie to say she's needy, but she is a bit needy. But Molly wasn't like that at all. So we miss her dearly, and I do think of her every time I'm winding a skein onto my niddy noddy. And Millie chewed holes in most of my good linen tea towels when she was a puppy. So they all have their different things, don't they? So it'd be lovely if you could let me know what you're working on, and I hope you enjoyed Wednesday's video. I really enjoyed making that video. I kind of feel like I'm really getting into the style I want my Wednesday videos to be, and yeah, I felt that was a good one. I haven't got my scissors. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I return with scissors, and then let's just tie this together. You're probably not going to be able to see this because it's not going to be in shot, is it? Right. Yeah, so what was I saying? Who knows? Completely forgotten. Anyway, yes, what are you working on? Hopefully you've told me that in the comments below. And I thought what I would do is, once this is off the bobbin, I would do a bit of spinning. Millie is being harassed by the local squirrel population. So every so often I'm probably going to have to stop and let her outside so she can satisfy her curiosity. And I'm just cutting these. Yeah, she's barking at squirrels, so I'll probably have to go and let her out. I'll be back in a minute. That was in fact the postman, not a squirrel. So she's now suitably saved us from the postman and is back sleeping on her cushion. Right, so I've got my little ties just to tie this up, do a figure of 8. So I split it in half and do a little figure of 8 tie. And then when you're finishing it, and I always wet finish. I know some people steam finish, but no, I've never taken to that personally. And I wonder if it's to do with a sort of time in history when I learnt to spin. Time in history, it sounds like I learnt to spin 3 million years ago, doesn't it? No, I mean, sort of in the early 2000s, were people steam finishing? Maybe they were, but I wasn't taught to, and I've never got in the habit of it, and I can't really see the benefit. I mean, other than that it dries quicker, but I mean, how quickly do you actually need your yarn to dry? I don't know, maybe, do you steam finish? Let me know. Do you think it's a good method? Right, and then I've got, what have I got here? I've got sort of ends and ugly yarn and gone wrong yarn and experiments for just tying up the rest of these, because I only had 4 little ends that didn't quite fit in when I tied it up. So when I tied the skein together with, there you go, with that knot, the bits that were kind of hanging off, I cut them off and just used them to tie up. But there wasn't quite enough, so I've got sock yarn experiments. Just to finish doing that. Then when I've done this, I'm going to turn the camera around a little bit and we'll do some spinning. And I'm spinning, still spinning Andrew's sock yarn. So I did a bobbin last night, and I've decided to go with 2-ply. I did toy with the idea of 3-ply, but no, I've decided I like the 2-ply. I managed to get the newsletter out on time. That went out on Thursday. I will leave a link in the description below. It is very much a fibre arts newsletter. So although I do show you lots of different things on the vlogs, sort of some sewing and some kind of sightseeing, my newsletter is a fibre arts newsletter. I also hit publish on an article on my blog, so I've managed to get, I've now got 3 articles on my blog. That's, kind of woohoo. But it's, I'm playing the long game. I'm not putting myself under pressure to get that finished. That will just be done when it's done. Right, so I'm going to just let that sit on there for a bit, which I just think helps set the twist a little bit. I mean, I don't always, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So let's turn the camera around and do a bit of spinning. So I have my very scrappy leader. I think I'm going to have to put a new leader on here, but I'm not going to do that today. So I'm still spinning these that I made on the blending board. And I still haven't done lots of things that I was sort of planning to do. I was planning to get some moldenting done to do some natural dyeing, which I haven't done yet. But, it's just, it'll get done when it gets done. So hopefully this is going to be the right sort of tension, but it is raining quite a lot, so I expect the moisture content is a little bit different than it was last night. So that probably will have affected the way the wheel is spinning, because obviously it's made of wood, so it expands and contracts with the moisture. So let's just see how this is looking. So I want it quite bouncy because it's for socks. So I'm going to have a little fiddle with that, just see if that helps. So our change of plan for this afternoon is to go over to Newport for Andrew to do some sunset photography and me to walk the little dig dog on the beach. So if we do that, then I will record it for you. And I did a bit of video recording earlier in the week. And as I said, I honestly didn't think I was going to be here today, so I didn't think I would get this done. I didn't think I would get any more recording done, but things change. And so I'm here and I'm spinning. So we have got friends coming fairly soon. They don't stay with us. I've said this before. They stay in sort of an Airbnb or a bed and breakfast or a cottage, or, you know, depending on what they can find. We don't have enough space for that. And then we will go on days out. So I'm really hoping we are going to get to go on a bit of a fibre arts field trip. I'm going to try and persuade them that they really want to go to the Woolen Museum. That it'll be really interesting, and that we can take the dogs for a walk near there and then go and have a bit of lunch or a piece of cake or something in a local cafe. Whether I will achieve this miracle, I don't know. But I'm going to try, and if they are up for it, then I will show you. But I'll show you anyway, because we quite often go to nice places, nice photogenic places when we've got visitors. I also have a birthday present to buy, and I want to get a woolly birthday present for someone. And so I want to go to one of the woolen mills for that. So again, if I do that in the next few weeks, then I will take you along. So my last Sunday vlog, oh my goodness, it's gone crazy. So many people have been watching it, and so many new people on the channel. And it always makes me a little bit nervous, because I kind of think, oh, well, that was all about kind of what I got at the charity shops, stroke thrift shops, stroke op shops, depending on where you live in the world. And, you know, I maybe only do that once a month. And I was like, oh gosh, they've kind of come along here thinking I'm going to talk about thrifting with, you know, for craft stuff. And although, yes, I do that, that's not kind of what I do all the time. This is what I do all the time. I sit at a spinning wheel and spin. It is quite amazing how the wheel can feel completely different from day to day. Now I know, now who was telling me this in the comments? There was somebody who lives in Australia, and they're having, in their part of Australia, they've got really bad floods, and she was saying that her wheel just was unusable because of the moisture in the atmosphere. There was so much humidity in the atmosphere that she just couldn't use her wheel. And I was like, oh, how awful. I can't imagine not being able to use my wheel. I'd hate that. This is my happy place. This is where I just kind of sit and contemplate life at the wheel. It's a nice quiet time. just think about things. So one of the things I'm thinking about is the dye garden, because very shortly I do need to start the seeds. And I was kind of looking at the madder plant that I bought in the autumn, and I mean, I know they're deciduous, but it just looks like dead sticks. And I was like, oh dear, maybe that has not survived. So I'm really hoping that with a bit of warm weather, and I've actually put it in my new cold frame, so I'm hoping that is going to come back to life. But I was also looking at some madder powder and actually dyeing with some madder powder, because it'll take quite a few years to have enough root on the madder plant to do any dyeing with that. So I also have now got the results of the poll that I was running as to what you would like to see kind of fibre arts wise on the channel, and it was pretty close really. There was not an outright winner, but sort of working with colour was in first place, but it only just snuck in there really. So this coming Wednesday is going to be Border Leicester, which is part of the spin along, and then I think I will do some colour blending for the following week. And at some point I need to warp up my loom, and you know, just so many plans, so many projects, so little time. Right. Well, I think that's probably enough of me rabbiting on, isn't it? Let me say goodbye properly. I think that's probably enough for one chatty video, isn't it? That's quite a lot of chatting for one video. I'm going to carry on spinning this, and I will see you hopefully on Sunday. I think there's enough kind of footage, plus if I video when we go out this afternoon, and fingers crossed we'll have a vlog on Sunday. So I'll see you then. Bye bye.